Hey y'all, welcome to Dungeons 101 with Erica. Today we will be doing regular Temple of the Spider. This dungeon can be encountered in the random dungeon queue as well as being featured in the Reaper queue. This dungeon is very ad heavy in between bosses. When I say ad heavy, I mean that each pack you encounter has a large number of ads in it. You will want to make sure that you allow your tank to lead and be sure to stay together. Control effects and stuns are useful, however they are not mandatory. Just remember to keep moving, don't just stand still and allow the ads to attack you over and over. You will fight through 3 packs of mobs and then make your way through the door. Once through the door, you will cross over the bridge and fight 2 additional packs of ads. Be careful here not to aggro the ads on the far left. Those do not have to be killed unless they are aggroed. Go down the hill, or you can jump across by that little skill node kit right there. You can just jump over. And you'll fight 1 more packs of mobs before entering in through the next door. Once in this room, there will be several additional packs of mobs you will need to kill. Again, be careful not to aggro the ads on the far left, and also watch out for the spiders that will jump down off the ledge before crossing over the bridge. Clear the last set of ads and continue on through the door. Inside, you will fight 1 set of mobs followed by a drider and then 1 additional set of ads up the stairs. Once everything is defeated, you are now ready to face the first boss. For anyone that isn't aware, if you see on my screen, I keep having the black pearl things where it shows rolling for loot pop up, and then it also pops up and tells me who won the loot roll. If you guys want to disable that, you can do that by going into your options, into notification settings, and then go down to where it says party looting and disable both of those things. The first boss is Halbrand Darkstalker. She is a rogue and uses all rogue attacks against you guys. This boss has 3 distinct sort of phases that she will go through. There's an attack phase, a spider phase, and a clone phase. During the attack phase, the boss will be present in the room going through her different attacks. The main attacks of note will be when she throws a dagger at a single player. It will put a dot on that player, and then it will also decrease their incoming healing while the debuff is active, as well as she will do a tank buster mechanic on the player that has aggro, which hopefully is the tank because it's a very large hit. It's the rogue shocking execution daily that she will do. The tank needs to make sure that they're blocking that, and then also use mitigation if necessary for them to be able to take that hit. At 80%, 65%, 40%, and 20%, barrels will drop down into the room. There will be spiders that ride the barrels down into the room as well. These spiders should have priority over the boss, and the DPS should focus on killing all of the spiders. Throughout the fight, players will also be targeted with large red AoEs. These AoEs need to be taken away from all of the barrels that have dropped down into the room. If the AoE touches the barrels or the webs around the barrels when it explodes, the barrel will detonate, which will give you a stack of choking gas. The choking gas is a damage over time on the team. The more stacks you have, the more it ticks for. Once the spiders have been defeated, return to damaging the boss. At this point, the boss will activate her stealth and 3 clones will appear. The DPS will need to kill the clones. During the clone phase, 1 of 2 things will happen. Either a trap will appear on the floor or a barrel will be ignited. You want to avoid the trap if there's a trap on the floor, and if it is a barrel, you will start to hear a ticking sound, and then 1 of the barrels will be lit up red in the room. The DPS will need to kill this barrel before it detonates to avoid getting choking gas stacks. DPS should be saving their mount powers or dailies for the barrels. The barrels in regular version have significantly less health than in the master version. In the master version, it's almost a necessity for the DPS to save their mounts to make sure that those barrels get killed in time. When the boss goes into stealth at the 65% health mark, she will summon 3 clones of herself, and a 4-pip clone will also appear. At this point, you will now have 2 things happen, and each time it can either be a trap or a barrel. You want to kill the 4-pip enemy along with any ignited barrels. There can be one or there can be two at this point for the duration of the fight. This cycle will continue until the boss is defeated, so just make sure DPS is attacking the boss, killing the spiders when they spawn, killing the clones when they spawn, and also defeating any ignited barrels whenever those are up. Once the first boss is defeated, continue through the door and defeat the pack of mobs on the other side. Once killed, you want to skirt the right wall to avoid aggroing the assassin. If he is aggroed by chance, just kill him, and then when you enter into the next room, you want to stay to the left side edges to avoid aggroing the phase spiders. If someone runs through the middle of that platform, 2 phase spiders will spawn in, and then you guys will just have to kill those phase spiders as well. One player will need to kick the pillar so that the team can cross right here. Once on the other side, you will have 2 packs of enemies that need to be defeated before progressing through the door. In the next room, you have 2 options. You can either go the Leroy Jenkins option, which is to the right, or you can go to the left, which is often a safer option. If you go to the left, you can fight through the ads mob by mob and not aggro them all at once. However, if you go through the right, it's going to aggro 3 big little mobs all at once, and it's gonna be a little bit more tough on your DPS to get through that if you don't have necessarily the highest DPS or any control sort of elements in the group with you. So up to you guys how you want to go there. Both work. One may be more damaging than the other. Once all ads have been defeated, you can now face the second boss. The second boss is Desora Muzrum. This boss has 2 distinct phases, an attack phase and a Yachtlaw phase. During the attack phase, you will just be DPSing the boss while avoiding the different mechanics such as red AoEs and spiderwebs that she places on the floor. This boss also does a tank bust mechanic in which a red line will shoot out from her staff pointed at the person with aggro, followed by a green line that will do the damage. The tank can simply sidestep this or just make sure you block that. You don't really want to face tank it because it's a really big hit and can kill you. At 80%, 50%, and 20% health, the boss will phase out, and these little tentacle tree looking things called a Yachtlaws or something like that will spawn in, and the DPS should split up with each other and cover the whole arena in order to kill these Yachtlaws. For each Yachtlaw that doesn't get killed, it will add a ritual stack shown on the right side of your screen. Every time you hear the boss scream, it will do a big hit to the team. The more stacks you have in the ritual strength counter, the harder that hit will be. You don't want to let that get too high because that will eventually start one-shotting your DPS as well. Depending on the speed of the DPS, at some point, either during or right after those mechanics, a ghost will spawn in. The healer will need to heal this ghost to full health, which will clear the ritual stack that it brings in when it spawns. The only thing that can usually heal these ghosts on healers are healing at wills, such as Cure Wounds or Soothe if you're a paladin or a cleric, or whatever that line is on the warlock, or a daily, such as Hallowed Ground or Lay on Hands will heal them as well. The only class that can heal them with anything basically is a bard. During the fight, the boss will also tether 2 players to herself and place large red AoEs on them. The players with the red AoEs need to arrange them so that everyone that's not targeted by those red AoEs has a safe space to stand in. Most groups will split them, with one going to the far left and one going to the right, leaving the center space clear. Once you reach 50% health, the ghost that will spawn in will be imprisoned in a pink circle. The DPS will need to break that ghost out of the circle so that the healer is then able to heal the ghost to full health, which will also clear that ritual stack that it brings in. Continue this cycle until the boss is defeated. Once she is killed, you will go through the door, fight through 2 more packs of mobs, and down the stairs to the final boss. The final boss that you will face in this dungeon is Syndrath. Syndrath is a large Drider boss that will do several different mechanics. She will place webs on the floor that will root the player. She'll place dauntings on the floor, as well as around once every 30 seconds or so, she will cocoon a player. In the regular version and the Reaper version, this cocoon just stuns the player that is inside of the cocoon for several seconds. The DPS do not have to free the player as soon as the stun is finished, like the little meter bar that is ticking down, as soon as that depletes, the player will just be released from the cocoon. In the master version of this dungeon, that player has to be set free from that cocoon by the DPS before the time expires, otherwise that player will be dead. While all of that is going on, illusion spiders will periodically spawn around the room. It will either be a red spider that will target a player with a red line, or a blue spider that will target the boss with a blue line. In most groups, the tank will intercept the red lines, and the DPS if the tank is unable to, or if they get too many stacks that they're taking too much damage. Make sure if you are a DPS that you don't take more than one of those lines if possible, because when you're hit with a line, you receive a debuff on your bar that is a damage over time. And the more lines you have, the harder that hits, and a DPS can't really withstand very many of those lines. The healer will generally intercept the blue line. This, when intercepted, places a debuff on the player that intercepted it that decreases their incoming healing. If this line is not intercepted and hits the boss, it will heal the boss. So you always want to make sure that you're intercepting those blue lines at all costs. If the healer's in a cocoon, even the DPS should try to step in there. At 50% health, the boss will summon poison on the outside edges of the ring and will force the DPS into the center of the room. Be sure that you're dodging all of those red AoEs and dauntings that appear in the center as well. Once the boss reaches 20% health, she will now spawn both illusions at the same time. The most important line that you want to make sure that's being intercepted during this part is the blue line to avoid healing the boss once you reach that phase, because once you reach that phase, 2 spiders will spawn every time. It doesn't revert back to just 1. Continue DPSing on until you've defeated the boss, and then you are done. The key for these chests in this dungeon is a spider key and can be obtained from the North Dark Reaches campaign. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you all get some good loot. See you all next time. Bye!